What's going on, guys? We're going to do a quick video today on how to install your Autometer mechanical boost gauge. So let's go ahead and get started and show you guys what you're going to need. Before you even buy the gauge, make sure you have a motor that has turbos. Whether it's stock turbos, a big single, whatever, make sure you have turbos. If you don't have turbos, don't even bother buying the gauge because there's no point. And if people see your car with a boost gauge and your hood's popped open and they see there's no turbo, you're just gonna laugh. So for those of you guys out there, don't buy this boost. Don't even buy a boost gauge. Click out of this video if you don't even have a turbo yet. I'm just fucking with you guys. Anyways, obviously first things first, turbo motor. Then once you have the motor or the turbo setup, you can go ahead and buy your boost gauge. This is the mechanical Autometer boost gauge. There's the part number for you guys. So for this gauge, it's super simple. You just put a vacuum hose to it, and there's one thing you got to do first. So you guys see this barb fitting in the back of it. That didn't come with the gauge. I had to buy that separately, but it was like $5 on Amazon, next day shipped. But this is a 1/8 NPT pipe thread fitting to 3/16 barb. That way you can get rid of all the complicated fittings that the gauges come with, and you just have one fitting right off the gauge. Then to install it, I would recommend getting a gauge pod like this or something, or making a nice mount for your car. Don't just sit it there. Don't make it tacky. This is gonna go in my center vent, nice and clean, and I trimmed it up so I can still use the bracket. So yeah, go get yourself the 1/8 NPT to 3/16 barb fitting. Once you have everything all set up, the gauge where you want it, you go ahead and take one of your vacuum ports from your intake manifold. If you need to have a T put into one of it, so you can put a T in here if you really wanted to. But I have a bunch. This is a simplified manifold, so I have a bunch of vacuum ports that are not being used. So I'm gonna go ahead and use one of those. All you do, get your vacuum hose, stick it into there, route it whichever way you want it. Put a rubber grommet through the firewall where we're gonna use it so it doesn't wear through. For me, I have one right there. You can kind of see it right over there. It's gonna run through here to the dash and to the gauge. So let's go ahead and route that up real quick. Once you get your vacuum port ready, just stick it in here. And this part is up to you, completely not necessary, but I recommend it. Is you get a little rubber grommet. This one came with the gauge, so I'm using that. But you put the rubber grommet in the firewall and stick the hose through it. I'm gonna slide this down the hose a little bit more. That way it's in the right spot in the firewall. But this is just to prevent this hose from chafing on against the firewall and cutting hose and giving you pretty much a boost leak down the road. So yeah, this is optional, but highly recommended. So we're gonna go ahead and slip this through and feed it through the firewall. There you go. That's all you need to install your Autometer boost gauge, mechanical boost gauge. This is the recommended way that I recommend. Just ditch all the fittings that they give you. Get a 1/8 NPT female to barb, and then put this hose straight from the gauge all the way to a vacuum port. Then you're good to go. Theoretically speaking, if I started the car and then revved up and got into boost, this will move to whatever boost I'm hitting. But the car doesn't run right now. It's not wired up. It's not ready. So I can't demonstrate that for you guys, unfortunately. But that's how you install the boost gauge. And just for a little extra for you guys, I'll show you guys how to wire up the light. Because as you can see, there's no wiring here. It doesn't need any wiring. It doesn't need any power for the gauge to work. But I will show you how to wire up the lights just to help you guys out. So for the light wiring, it's super simple. You have a little harness that they give you, the pigtail. You get a positive white and then black negative. All you gotta do is either solder some wires or twist some wires together, connect it to a power and ground or to a switch. But I already have a harness made for that, so all I have to do to this is put some put some connectors on the back of it, and it's good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for you guys. So once you get your connectors all in, I have shrink wrap connectors, so mine might look a little different than yours. I was gonna cover it with shrink wrap, but nah. So once you get your connectors all put in there, all you gotta do is put it inside the gauge, plug it into your switch or your battery, however you're gonna do it. I recommend doing it to a switch so you don't kill your battery. But you just plug it into your harness or your switch or whatever, however you have it, and turn on the switch, and then there you go. Alright, so if you did everything correctly, all you gotta do is flip your switch and it'll turn on. So let's flip my switch. Which one is it? That's right here. Boom. All my gauges turn on, as well as the boost gauge, the one that we just did. So we wired up our boost gauge correctly, or the lighting for the boost gauge, I should say. And that completes this video on how to install an Autometer mechanical boost gauge.